we'll probably do these videos like this, just give you a rundown on what the plan is. And now I'll do a time lapse, I guess. And we got to pull all this landscape cloth. We've got to spray some marking paint 15 inches on either side of that string, so we have our 30-inch trench. And then we dig. That's a much easier way to do it. So we got to figure out where we're at here for depth. That's the next step here. Figure out roughly, are we on track here right now? I think the only way to do that is to bring the transit up here, set it on this patio, and just mark with chalk so we can put it in the same place each day. And then the top of this beam here, the top of that piece of concrete here, we want this side to be the same. Obviously we're going to have a 4-inch pony wall on this side as well. So we could basically shoot and measure the top of that wall and then subtract from the top of that wall the 4 inches plus the 28 inches of the wall plus the 10 inches of slab, and that'll give us a reading at this depth to know if we're down far enough. Okay, so we got the laser set up now. We need to check this depth. So this curve here is basically, we want to mimic this curve, right? We want the curve on this side to be the same height as this side. So we set the laser up and we take a measurement here. Okay, we'll turn it off for a second. So we know the total depth right to the top of the concrete on this side is 34 3/4. So you can do the math with the story pole if you want, or the easy thing to do is to lay this down, measure your 34 3/4 from where the laser is. 34 3/4 takes us to almost 6'3" on here. Now we can just move this up to the 6'3" height. Turn the laser back on. Jump in the hole. And we are maybe half an inch low. So we're far enough down. So that's the easy way to do it. So we're half an inch low. We've dug too deep by half an inch. So this ends up giving us like a 32-ish retaining wall, which is perfect. So this is the depth. We just got to keep progressing this way, and then we got to get to forming our box. Put some steel in here. This is a nice big slab here. We're actually going to be able to bring this wall up and turn it and put some ready rod, some pins right into this concrete slab here to hold that. I mean, this wall is going to weigh so much that it's not going to fall forward, and it's quite stout, like it's low, and it's got a 10-inch footing, 10-inch thick concrete footing, so it's very heavy at the bottom. But it's nice to be able to tie it into this piece to make sure this piece doesn't sink anymore, and to hold this end of the wall. And on that end of the wall, we're actually going to tie it into that set of stairs. We're going to drill in and put some ready rod into the I keep saying ready rod, rebar. We're going to put some rebar into the stair, epoxy it in, and then we'll have a solid two ends of this wall. So there we are. We've started. The dirt management's a bit of a nightmare here because it's typically, just like everything here, you're on a slope, so you got to figure out a better way to do it. So we're down far enough by a half an inch to spare, which will be good. When we put the box in there, we'll have some workability because the box is 33 feet 11 inches long, but we're going to build it in 2x10s by 10 foot. So it'll be 10-foot sections, which is a little bit more manageable. And then we'll 3/4 inch plywood the top of it with that square cutout for the wall that'll come up out of it. So we'll show you all that, but the good news is we're deep enough. So let's keep digging. Oh, she's a warm one today. You can see we're making some pretty good progress. We got 10 feet left to go down at that end. So let's have a quick tour of this now. It's a bit wider than in the 2 feet that's required. Well, it's actually 2 feet plus 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches for the 2x10 on the outside. So it's, you know, 27, 28 is kind of what we're looking at. The lines that I had drawn were 30 inches worth of trench. But the problem is when you have the tractor offset from the center of where you're digging, you're pulling the bucket sort of sideways when you're doing this outside piece here. So it's inevitably going to be a bit wider, which in actuality is fine because it's going to be easier to fit the boxes in here, right? So we found one big rock so far, which I was able to just stand on end. This one here. That is a big rock. We're able to just flip it up on its end, and yeah, to keep it out of the way. The interesting thing is, though, this was moved with something, not a Kubota. You can see blue marks on this rock. So I don't know what it was moved with previously, but anyway, unless that was just scraping on another rock. But there's just a tiny bit of orange paint here from me. Anyway, so we're able to stand that one up and hopefully gain our 28 inches in width. And we've only got like maybe 10 feet left to go here. So just got to dig to those stairs there and where that stake is. And then tomorrow we start building the boxes. So we're trying to save this gooseberry. So I put some of the roots that were exposed in a couple buckets to keep them in the dirt. So that's kind of where we're at. Okay, so moving right along, we've run a string line showing the center of the footing to that end, which is just measured off. We just measured off the house, and we've built our 2x10 boxes basically just with a nail gun. And these are just temporary supports until we put the 3/4 inch plywood to build the box. But obviously we can't put the plywood on here yet until we run the steel. So I've drilled 2 holes into the end of the 2x10 which the ready rod or the rebar will go into, and I'll show you once we get the run done to the end, then I'll show you how to put the steel in. We're going to put 2 1/2 inch full runs of steel, and then every it's either 16 or 24 inches we have steel going across it that gets tied to it. So moving right along, making some good progress.